A CRN original.
Attention, you are about to hear the captivating voice of an icon in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique. Brilliant. And unpredictable. Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yes, okay, we're all very impressed, but let's get on with it, huh?
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show.
Well, good day, my dear friends, and we're still happy here in California that our governor kept his position. Gavin Newsom, you woke up, it wasn't a dream, it was a nightmare, and it continues in California, and I'm so thrilled again to welcome this second day after the recall and the tremendous job that was done by everyone trying to get a recall going. And I talked about it yesterday. Watch that show. Today I want to talk about something else. Today's something because, California, on the way over, actually, just to recap something, I heard something on the radio when someone says, well, leave California alone. It's a lost cause. You know what I mean? We just have to give it. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that you have to educate people, not indoctrinate them. I believe that what's the lost cause is not California, but the GOP. That to me is the lost cause, because they have to have injections of new blood so they can start with their messaging. They can start with their ideology. Let me give you an example of this in a roundabout, crazy way. Now, everyone is arguing about science, and the left uses science as if it's a Bible. It's God, the imperator of science, the imperator of Fauci, the imperator of the World Health Organization, the imperator of the CDC. Now, for those of you that don't know, imperator is what is used by the Catholic Church when the Pope says that this writing has been studied and read, and now we find it good for the faithful to read this, and we give the imperator, we give our blessing on it. A little deeper than a blessing, but that's what that is. So we've been hearing now for months and months and months about COVID. Now, I'm going to digress, and you're going to say, what the hell is he getting at? Well, I'm going to tell you. You'll find out. So, about a week ago, there's my little 2-year-old daughter says she sees some water on the floor. And she says to my wife, she says to my wife, she goes, Mommy, there's water on the floor. And Mommy looks up, and there's a little drip on the dining room ceiling. It's starting to drip. Now, when I get home, and I think it was from doing the show here, I get home, and my wife shows me, look, honey, there's a leak here. Oh, damn. Must be the air conditioning, one of the air conditioning. There's 2 units in the house. So I go, oh, damn. All right, let me see, maybe a pipe burst or something. I get the ladder, and I go up into the eave that's above the dining room, because that's where that unit is. And there's 2 units outside and another unit upstairs, the other part of the house. So I look, and I can't see anything. I just didn't want to see water spraying out of a pipe. You know what I mean? So I figured, all right, there was some subtle leak coming from somewhere. And then I started calling, and I have the insurances. I have insurance for this. I have, house insurances and stuff. So I call the people, and they send over. This is probably on Wednesday, and with the insurance thing, it takes time for the. Here's the story. Those companies that deal with insurance, they don't get top dollar. So it's almost like, so if they get a call from somebody that's going to be paying out of their pocket, they charge more. Because like insurance, for this hospital, the kidney transplant is X amount of dollars. For this thing, this procedure is that. For extracted tooth, it's that. And based on who you go to and what insurance you got, they're going to pay so much of this. And, just like insurance for your health, insurance for these sick appliances or sick things. So you call the insurance company, and then they send the doctor over, and the doctor comes and takes a look. It takes, I get there when I can get there, but, we need it anyway. So they show up on Monday. Now, this was from Wednesday to Monday. One guy shows up, and he goes up, and he looks, and he goes, you need, what does he need? He says, you need a, what do you say? You need a coil. You need a coil and a condenser. I go, oh, okay. No, excuse me. The insurance guy shows up. Insurance guy shows up on Monday. He goes, it's an obstruction. I blew it out. You're fine. I go, really? So there's no more leak? No, it was obstructed. Oh, thank you very much. There's no leak. Okay. Then how come this is, He goes, well, it's dry now. I go, it's dry because it took you 5 days to get here, and I had the machine off. Doesn't it make sense? I mean, he says, no, it's going to be fine. He says, and if it's not, you call us back within a month, and we come right back. Thank you very much. X company. Next morning, the other guy comes on a Tuesday. He goes up, and there's another guy from insurance. He goes upstairs, looks the same bullshit, excuse my French, and he got, you know what? We should be able to say that because there's a lot of it going on in life. All right? That's a nice, innocuous word. BS. Anyway. So what happens is this guy comes down and says the same thing. Oh, you had a clogged line, and I blew it out, and now you should be fine. And I say to myself, oh, I had a clogged line. And I think the guy yesterday cleaned out the clogged line. And the guy today now is the same. It's a clog that quick. Myself, I say, is a clog that. But anyway, he goes, it should be okay. If there's any problems, call us. Now, I couldn't hold back anymore. But over the weekend, I had 2 private guys come to see what they had to say. One guy comes in and on and blah, blah, blah. Nice, all nice people. I'm not very nice. And he goes, you need a compensator, not a capacitor, or a capacitor or a thing. He says, you need that. It's $350. I go, there's no leak. No, that's causing the leak because it's running cold and you need a capacitor. $350. Now, I says, oh, but there's no. Well, why is it leak? Well, because it gets too cold, and you need a capacitor, and this and that. Anyway, okay. I leave it at that. $350. Thank you. I'll get in touch with you. The next guy comes. A great guy. Hit it off with him wonderfully. He checks everything. He goes up there. He checks around. He goes, your coil is leaking. It's leaking from the pan here. It goes from this pan to that pan, and it's thing, and the drywall. Now we can't do anything about the wetness and stuff like that. You'll have to get somebody else to fix that. And he's being very nice. He says, and you do that, and you do this, and then we want to, and you should change the furnace as well. Oh, I got to change the furnace as well? Yeah, because it's a, when you change the coil, you got to change the furnace, and you got to do, so anyway, this was over the weekend, before the guys from the insurance came. So now I get this totally different diagnosis from 3 guys. 2 guys the same and 2 guys different. So I then call other people. Of course I go, So I call other people and I get a guy coming and he goes, okay, you need this. Now this new guy says, okay, you need a coil and you need a condenser. I can't put the coil in without changing the condenser. What? It doesn't make sense. He says, you got to change. He says, parts are so hard to get right now. You can't get the parts. And to do that, you've got to get a condenser, and I've got to get this thing, because I can't get this particular coil to put it in there so it would be compatible. Right now, my head is spinning, okay? This is over my air conditioning, dear friends. This is over science. I mean, how many permeations of air conditioning can you have? How many permeations? You have air conditioning, you have a furnace, you have a coil, you have the outside condenser, you got that's pure science, scientific. That's pure like, okay, let me diagnose. It's not like a human body that has so many complexities or other systemic issues. Now, a new guy comes this morning. He goes, it's not your coil. I go, it's not my coil. He goes, let me show you pictures. Now, I've got pictures up the Yankee. I got pictures from that guy, pictures from this guy, pictures from the other guy. Another great guy. I got to say, all these workmen are blue-collar, salt of the earth. I'm getting to a bigger point on this whole thing about science and about our government and about. So the guy says it's not. I'll have to replace that coil, but I need a bigger coil, and you have to now move the furnace, and you should. So I'm confused. I'm totally confused. I'm absolutely confused. I'm like, well, who do I go with? Do I call some more guys and get some more variations? Then I thought to myself, God forbid, what about, you hear these horror stories about people going to doctors. You go to one doctor, he says, yeah, you got to transplant that. Another doctor says, no, you got a problem with your air duct. Who the hell knows? We don't know anymore. The competence in life is in terms of believing in science. Now, apply that to COVID. Apply that to the government. Apply that to Afghanistan. And when we come back, we're going to apply that to every single thing. Apply that to our voting systems. Davi, I'll be back in about 3, 2, 1. Hang in.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/find. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I, live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/find. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Robert Davi.
You know, I'm the one delivering the message, not receiving it. So, dear friends, I was discussing to you my air conditioning issue, and now I had about 5 companies come and deal with it. And there were variations on the theme. I still haven't had a perfect diagnosis, but that's how life is, right? So I apply that to everything. I'm sitting back watching this go down, and then not only that, I happened to, the insurance company it was great. I've had it since I've had the house. And then, you know, got this other one, which I will talk about next week. But this one here is a good company that I have. And I was a little frustrated because the diagnosis from their guy was like, blow it out. That was it. And then call back and they tell me, we'll come back on Friday and then we'll see what's needed. And I know what that game was. I know what that game is because that's how they do it. And I had an issue with a refrigerator one time. And, you know, I'm persistent. What can I tell you? I paid for the insurance. I believe in the insurance. And then I want the service. But you got to wait it out. I mean, you got to be persistent on it. And maybe because I'm a celebrity, I got a little easier thing on that because I emailed the CEO. I called up the headquarters of this one insurance company. I said, hey, guys, can I talk to the CEO? Nice person. And they go, he's not in right now. Hold on. So I got his assistant, I think, or someone, who was lovely. I mean, the most cordial, wonderful. Gave me his email. Didn't say why. I wrote a beautiful email to him. And within 5 minutes, I got a phone call from their crisis people saying, what's the issue? We want to fix this, and how do we help you? And I felt very satisfied and secure with that because, and then now I have a responsibility to them to make sure I get the best quote and the best assessment of what's going on. And I don't mind, you know, and every time you have a guy come to the house, you know, insurance, you're paying $75 a pop when they come. And then very few people give you a free estimate. They want to, you know, they need the $85 or $75 or $65. One guy didn't charge, 2 guys didn't charge me, who were very nice guys. So now, all right, but now I have to get the right diagnosis. And it's mind-boggling. And I then think to what's happening in the world, all over the world. With this, just let's take COVID. Let's just take how the world is handling COVID. I mean, do they know anything? What do they really know? And the right begs, believe in the science. Well, I believe in the science. I believe in the science. I believe in science. It's the science. Well, you know, we follow the science. Got to follow the science. I'm so sick of hearing follow the science because the science, here it is in air conditioning. What is that? Is there science? There's science to that. There's Freon, there's water, there's this, there's vaporization. There's all kinds of science in that. And when there's, you know, umpteenth different directions, and that's just this. It's not even a virus. It's not even what we're going through. And then you think about, well, it does work, it doesn't work, ivermectin works, it doesn't work, hydrochloroquine works, it doesn't work, it causes heart attacks, this one causes that, this one's that. People have been taking it for years, but you can't take it now. And masks or no masks, or masks do work or masks don't work, and masks, and then we have to have this, and then the booster shot, and well, we don't, maybe wait a minute, maybe your immunity is stronger than, and it's all over the place. It is all over the place. And then you're telling me that something like the voting process is clear? Human beings are, can I tell you something? We are, how do you say the word? I want to say it so badly. But we up. We're a bunch of ups. Okay? We up. I don't care if you're president, secretary of state, I don't care if you're a PhD doctor, an educator in an elementary school. Human beings are a bunch of ups. And this is what happens. And we've got to sit there and we've got to pretend that they know better. Nobody knows anything. What we've got to do is we have to have a new mindset. We've got to empty our minds of preconceived notions and the stupidity of it all. And then celebrities like myself weigh in on garbage that we know a little bit about here and there, and we feel good about, makes us feel good, makes us feel part of the club. And, these people are like me, that I'll be liked over here. And, so we start spewing based on who's going to be listening to us. And you got to think so. You got, like, for instance, science. Now Jimmy Kimmel, who I know. I met his mom and dad. Lovely. We got along great. I liked Jimmy Kimmel. I like him. I was in Ischia with him at a film festival. That's where his Italian side of the family come from, this beautiful island. Ischia, Jimmy Kimmel, a paisan. But yet I want to go on his talk show and say, what the hell is going on with you, Jimmy? You're so left-wing. Be honest. Be open. He doesn't comment on a bombshell report about science. I mean, that links Fauci to Wuhan lab. Because he praised him as a godsend. You're a godsend, Anthony Fauci. And I remember in the beginning, friends of mine said, Fauci's a great man. He might be. But he's also a because he's a human being, and human beings up. Period. We all do. So Kimmel praises this physician as a godsend when he comes on his show in May. And now they're remaining silent about that the testimony he gave before Congress has been called into question. That's hypocrisy. That's, you know what I mean? And they're declining to comment on it. Why? Why? Why would they? Why? He'd be up there doing his little Johnny Carson impersonation, telling jokes about Trump, about Giuliani, about Sarah Palin, about whatever right-wing person he wants to mock. Mock your own people, too, Jimmy. It gives you more credibility, son. Mock your own people. Bill Maher's doing it. Courageous Bill Maher. As liberal as he is, God bless him, he's doing it, Jimmy. You got to do it, Jimmy. Hollywood's got to start calling out the hypocrisy because science is a lot of BS sometimes. Human beings are umps. And I wish I could say the word. Trust me, I wish this was a cable station that I could just do a Norm Macdonald, God bless his soul, who died recently. He was the most politically incorrect comedian you can imagine and would make things hysterical by his attacking on sensitive words and phrases and situations. And he brought the absurdity to it all. And we've got to do that a little more. Now, when we come back, I want to talk about a guy, an actor, another actor. An actor that's talking about critical race theory, and we need to have education. Davi, back in 3 minutes.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic, market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our Peach Bellini Martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
Back by popular demand, the showroom at South Point presents The Righteous Brothers, September 28th to the 30th.
You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips.
Thank you. Tickets to the box office online at southpointcasino.com or charged by phone 702-797-8055. The Righteous Brothers at the showroom at South Point. A limited engagement.
New surveys show that Americans don't think vaccines are enough to protect themselves and others from COVID-19. 80% want thermometers used in public places to screen for COVID-19. 36% know that non-contact devices are inaccurate. And 60% would not recommend that friends or family members enter places that screen with them. To be safe, use Exergen at home, at work, and in public. It's the only thermometer proven accurate by more than 100 published clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
The Robert Davi Show.
I'm Dwayne Robinson, LAPD. I'm in charge here.
Not anymore. So the name of science, and this, it's been going on since forever. It's the science thing, and the argument of science, and look at I'm all for this. Don't get me wrong here. Okay, don't get me wrong. But we're all ups. And for instance, like say, let's just talk about, I remember Wuhan virus. Remember when it first came out? At first it was a shocking thing. Wuhan came from the wet people. I mean, right away there was a So the other day, I think it was sometime in June, I don't know, not the other day, but Jon Stewart goes on Stephen Colbert's show. And, his basement-rated show. And they talk about the Wuhan virus. And he says, oh my God, there's a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Well, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan Novel Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? He goes, and then they ask those scientists, they're like, well, wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a Penelope kissed a turtle. This is Stewart. He goes, oh my goodness, there's been an outbreak of chocolatey goodness near Hershey, Pennsylvania. What do you think happened? Oh, I don't know. Maybe a steam shovel mated with a cocoa bean. Or it's the effing chocolate factory. Maybe that's it. It's a local specialty, and it's the only place to find bats. You mean you won't find bats anywhere? I've seen them in California. Wait a minute. Austin, Texas. Thousands of them fly out of caves every night. Eat the mosquitoes at dusk. Is there a Austin coronavirus? No, there doesn't seem to be an Austin coronavirus. The only coronavirus we have is in Wuhan, where they have a lab called, what's the lab called again? Steven? That's what John says, Stewart. And then what happens to Stewart, of course, the attacks start to happen. He gets interviewed by The Hollywood Reporter. And this is a great article by Jim Nolte, friend of mine. And he couldn't tell if Colbert was entertained or a little nervous. And he says, I don't think he was nervous. It's not like he doesn't know what I'm going to say. And he goes, how it got to be that it was a scientific accident it's conservative. And it came from a wet market, it's liberal. I don't know. I'm just not sure how that got politicized, but it was an inelegant way to get that bit that I've done for years, which is our good intention brilliance will more than likely be our demise. So he was surprised about the pushback, and then he acquiesces a bit because he's talking to The Hollywood Reporter. Now, if Trump said water is wet, CNN would fact-check it as a lie. Scarborough would accuse him of trying to get people drowned, and Goldberg would bat cleanup by attacking Trump for being so divisive with his simplistic proclamations. Water is wet. And it just keeps going on like this, you know. And the latest one, and I'm all for what he's talking about, but an actor, Jeff Daniels, you know, the Dumb and Dumber guy. Well, Jeff Daniels is a good guy, good actor, terrific actor. I met him. But he's now on guess what show? Stephen Colbert. And he tells Colbert, while America that white America suffer from a blindness, and said that if they get educated, and you read books by leftist authors and he mentions these leftist authors, and accept that systemic racism exists, we can all welcome in a new America. Wow, Jeff. Why don't you read books by, you know, Shelby Steele? There's guys out there that are black that are writing about the same thing you're talking about, and they call it something else, Jeff. Why don't you get educated, you monkey? Why don't you get educated, monkey? He was eager to get back. He's doing this play, of course, Kill a Mockingbird. So he's got to now, you know, stir up the audience to come see him. And let's face it, left-wing audiences go more to the theater than right-wing. So he's going to do this. And he goes, you know, the bloody Sunday for people of color was George Floyd's murder, he says. And he says, white people said, I had no idea we were taught one side of American history. I better look into that. So he's mocking. He's mocking the old white man and women. And this moment with Floyd made him go into these authors of critical race theory, perhaps. We have an opportunity, he says, in this country right now to welcome in a new America. Americans need to rededicate themselves on first principles, and white people are the ones who need to hear it. Oh, I see, Jeff. Just white people need to hear it. He says, in the theme of To Kill a Mockingbird, one of the themes is goodness in everyone. He goes, but systemic racism in America leaves him uncertain if that's still true. If there is goodness in everyone in 2021, not sure. You have to decide now if you're for, or at least prepared to marginalize systemic racism. And Daniel support critical race theorists. So what he does here, an academic, Dr. James Lindsay, said that the goal of critical race theory is to set up a dictatorship of the anti-racists in the same way Karl Marx wanted to set up a dictatorship of the proletariat. And the leader of the new black movement group that celebrates the nuclear family blasted critical race theory, weaponizing black children by keeping them in failing schools and grooming them in how to undermine America. Jeff Daniels, you've missed the whole point. You're a panderer. You are a panderer, Jeff. Because there are great guys out there that are writing, black people and women and men, that tell a different story. Now, in terms of education and maybe history being taught a certain way, my daughter came home from school 10 years ago and says, I'm ashamed of being white. Now, what does that mean, Jeff? When a 10-year-old, 9-year-old girl comes home and says, I'm ashamed of being... What's being taught in school, Jeff? You see, my dear friends, this is the danger. This is where you guys got to wake up, not be woken. This is where you have to wake up and you have to start understanding that we're all ups and judging from the multiple diagnoses of my air conditioning unit. I suggest now that we're in chaos. Because if something as simple as an air conditioning unit can't be diagnosed correctly with the science, how do we expect this Wuhan flu? How do we expect to get out of Afghanistan? And how do we expect a general like Millicent to do the right thing? From what I'm hearing, this guy should have been court-martialed, taken out. So we're having this whole idea of critical race, and I'm all for teaching. Trust me. I've talked about it before on the show. I want parents united for education. So we are teaching history, not in a skewed way, Jeff, because what you're talking about is that white people bad, black people good, or victims. This is what you're having. And that's doing a disservice to the black community, Jeff. It's pandering, but doing a big disservice to them, Jeff. And all you Jeffs out there. Yes, I want education. Yes, I want history taught. Davi, back in a minute.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Columbo's, since 1954, has been serving up fine dining in a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's is still doing something right. It's why so many travel from the West Side and the Valleys to experience and enjoy what Eagle Rock has known for years. Columbo's is truly something special. Columbo's serves up some of the most succulent, delicious steaks, as well as outstanding seafood offerings in all of Southern California. And the Columbo family's Italian specialties are worth the trip from anywhere. Columbo's is a memory maker. Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock, 323-254-9138. 323-254-9138. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, serving up fine dining in a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's, of course.
Now it's time for MedVed's Entertainment Minute.
Hugh Jackman plays a tough guy with a broken heart who operates a machine that can bring people's memories back to vivid life in the futuristic film noir Reminiscence, now playing in theaters and streaming on HBO Max.
Nothing is more addictive than the past.
How close can you get before the illusion's broken?
You're going on a journey. All you have to do is follow my voice.
And all you have to do is listen to the dialogue to see what's wrong with this pretentious pastiche of much better old films. Rebecca Ferguson plays the part of what used to be called a soiled angel who becomes a deadly obsession for the haunted main character, while Thandie Newton, his loyal assistant, tries to protect him. The subplot about a future Miami nearly underwater from climate change adds nothing, while a series of ultra-violent sequences make the PG-13 rating a joke. 1.5 stars for Reminiscence. Despite the title, there's hardly anything about the film that's actually memorable.
Robert Davi.
Another $80 million write-off.
I guess it's time to start cutting overhead.
So what I'm saying is, and in response to Jeffrey Daniels, the actor from Dumb and Dumber, what I'm trying to say is that I'm agreeing with you that history should be taught, Davi. But the difference is we should have it so no side is demonized. Because what's happening now in education, Jeff, is that what we're doing is demonizing white people. So white little children are feeling bad about themselves. My daughter came home from school, as I said, I'm ashamed of being white, Daddy. So what is the teacher being told there? The idea of critical race theory is much more. I'm going to be now, this is Robert Davi, but I'm going to be someone else now, if you just tuned in. I want to speak with authority on it.
Is this Winston Churchill?
On an issue. No, it's not. I don't know who it is, actually. It's just part of my psyche that's somewhere in me wants to talk about this like this, because it is so infuriating to me that there's only a way, Mike, that was Mike, my cohort and engineer, the only way I can talk about this subject now, and with some authority, is to do it with a different character. So I want to tell Jeff Daniels, because it holds more weight, you see. In some strange way, someone listening to me now speaking about critical race theory as being it weaponizes a Marxist philosophy with young children. I mean, I recently saw a YouTube video of Barbie sitting there, black Barbie, with a white Barbie, telling the white Barbie that she wasn't able to get into the same school she got into because of being black. And there was... Now, I don't know. All I hear about is that the testing scores are lower for blacks, that requirements sometimes we have to do because of diversity, except for thought. We don't have diversity of thought. That is something new now. That's the new slavery, the new... how shall I say? Oh, we got the new enemy. Is conservatism and people who think differently than you do. So we're going to silence those voices. We're going to minimize those voices. We're going to demonize those voices. And that's what's being done, as you can tell. And this whole thing now, and I think it makes you feel better. I would like to say that, what Jeff did, because I have a lot of friends who are black, and they would probably say, Robert, thank you so much for saying that. But I can't pull myself to be a hypocrite, and I'm not a racist. I'm an American. And I said it the other day, the American spirit is what is being torn apart. Well, that's what you do. He says a new America. What's the new America, my dear friend? Jeff, what is the new America you refer to? America without any issue, any problems. An America where a husband may not beat his wife. An America where a child may not kill his parent. An America where... What kind of America are you talking about, Jeffrey? I want to know because people are umpuffs. And that's just what it is, Jeff. You can say it's this, and you can say it's that. And it's the same way that with my air conditioning units. 5 different people with 5 different diagnoses and 5 different ways of handling something that is common-sensed. And it's interesting to me that they'll sit there with this smug, leftist, laughy, bottom basement player on CBS, Jeff Daniels, and Stephen Colbert, and they'll wax eloquently about this. Don't you think it's rather disgusting that no one really comes up and says, see, I think there should be a double point of view. I think they should have him there, and they should, they should have someone on the conservative side saying, wait a second, a black man, perhaps. Shelby Steele, perhaps. Bob Woodruff. They write extremely brilliant men have written, and there's many others, believe me, that have talked and written about this. And so now what happens? Finally, on Wednesday's show, Jimmy Kimmel's show, this last Wednesday, Bill Maher is on, and he says that the liberal media has to take responsibility for needlessly scaring people about COVID. And he said it's much harder for every touring act to sell tickets in blue states. They're afraid to go out of the house. So interesting that he brings it to touring and to money. That's what I want. We all want it, don't we? We all need it to survive in this day and age. We all want it for our services. I want money. That's what I want. So he references a survey about the partisan attitudes toward the virus. And he goes, what do you think the chances are you would have to go to the hospital if you got COVID? And the Democrats thought it was way higher than Republicans. 41% of Democrats. The answer is between 1 and 5%, but 41% of Democrats thought it was over 50%. Another 28 thought it was 20% to 49%. So 70% of Democrats thought it was way, 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 way higher than it was. And who has to take responsibility for that? For scaring the bleep out of people. And he said, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's much harder for touring acts to sell tickets in blue states. They're afraid to go out of the house, whereas in red states, it's all good to go. So it's kind of funny, kind of interesting, but here's the point, you see. He's talking about the liberal media scaring the people into staying into their homes, and how the liberal Democrats thought it was much higher, from 1 to 5% to 50, 41, 70%. So how interesting is that? Now, if we can now apply the same logic to Donald Trump, for instance, he was a virus to the left, wasn't he? And to the GOP elite. Donald Trump was worse than coronavirus to Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and the Schumer. Mr. Schumer. I'd like, if I could turn them to dust, I would. Dust. Or put them in a new dimension. New dimension, Nancy. Schumer, Schiff. Schiff, Schumer. And then I'd throw in a little bit of AOC, a little bit of McConnell. He'd go too. Go, get out of here, please. Go with them. A few other Republicans. The Cheney woman, who's getting me upset. Oh, there's quite a few I would banish. from this dimension, not from life. If there was a string theory of dimension, put them in a different dimension. I'd like to put them, imagine if we could jump ship. Imagine if we could have a dimension, right? Imagine if we were granted the science to be able to have the reality we want. Whoosh. America is conservative. Trump is president. What's that reality? Imagine living in that reality. Imagine being a Democrat and doing that. But I mean, having to do that. You know, that time travel thing. Go in your brain. A Trump America. The borders are closed. Immigration is under control. We know who's here. The immigrants that are here want to be here because they love America and they want to become Americans, e pluribus unum. We have one language, English, not 17. And we're helping our fellow American become more American. We're endowing them, injecting them with the virus of the American spirit. You see, that's what's lacking. The American spirit, it's what Reagan feared. And we are lacking the American spirit, no matter what political side you're on. Imagine if a lefty can all of a sudden go into a nice conservative world. And I'm not saying ultra-conservative because Trump, he wanted to build up the black communities. He wanted our infrastructure correct. A lot of issues. But imagine, what would happen? And now on the reverse of that, imagine a conservative jumping into the world of AOC, of Nancy Pelosi, of Ilhan Omar, of Adam Schiff. What would happen there? I wonder if the Democrat would want to stay in the conservative world and let them both be gay. Let the conservative be gay in the conservative world. Well, let's pick several people. Why don't we have several people? We should have a black, an Asian, maybe it's a TV series or a movie. A black, an Asian, a Hispanic, a white, a Muslim. Diversity. We'll do the diversity thing. And this little ship of diversity gets to string travel, travel into a conservative state. And these people are left-wing that travel to the conservative state. And the same diverse panel goes to the America of the left, the America of California, where there's homeless encampments throughout the nation and chaos. Davi, thanks for listening. Come back tomorrow. Ciao.
Are you tired